I will start my design by adding a text. Clicking the Add Text button places the text tool in the design canvas, ready to type your text. Change the properties of the text by activating the text. I then have access to the font library, and for this project I will go with the Lobster font. The font size can be changed as well as the style, which can be set to bold, italic, underlined, or a combination. There are tools available for alignment, line spacing, as well as letter spacing in the case it is needed. Text may also be manipulated by operating the handles. It can be scaled by dragging a handle, and by pressing Shift on the keyboard, the text can be distorted. The handle with the arrow rotates the text box. If the text color needs to be changed, press the Fill color in the text tool. In here I can select from different libraries of colors, which also includes the color used for structural ink. In the pattern section, I have a library of different patterns which may also be used as fill color for text. With the text activated, simply click the color. I can also build my own library of colors by clicking the pen icon. In this tool, you can freely create custom colors using either RGB or CMYK color space, whichever suits the best. Please note that the representation of any colors on the screen will differ from the final print in the case that the screen is not properly calibrated, measured, and if color management is not configured correctly. When the color has been defined, I name the color and add it to my library. So here it is, in my colors. A text can also contain patterns, either filled with structural ink, a colored pattern, or a combination of a colored pattern with structural ink. Clicking the pattern, I have access to a lot of preset patterns, and I can now browse for a pattern which suits my need for this design. In order to apply a pattern to the text, activate the text and click on the pattern. Closing the library, I now have access to the properties of the pattern, and I can scale by changing the width and the height. If the design benefits from moving the pattern, this is done in the offset boxes. And I can also rotate the pattern by either using the arrows up and down, but I can also simply enter a value. The Apply color informs that a pattern is used, and in the case Apply Structural is activated, the pattern will print with structural ink. I can deactivate the Apply Structural, click the Pattern button, and instead apply a fill color to the pattern. I would like to apply a combination of both a pattern and a color to the text. To do so, I copy the text, which is then going to be colored. Select the object, copy, and then paste, which results in two identical objects which I will now place on top of each other using the Align tool. Select the objects to be aligned and click the Align tool, which lets us align objects to either the document or to other objects. Clicking Align Middle and then Center aligns the two objects on top of each other. Deselect the two objects, select the topmost object, and I can now color it using the color in my library. I want to have the structural ink object on top of the colored object, and this is a job for the Arrange tool. With the topmost object selected, the object filled with color, open the Arrange tool and click Send to Back. I use the Layers tool to verify that the result is what I expect it to be. Deselecting the Show Structural hides the objects with structural inks, and I can see that my colored objects certainly are in place as intended. The Show Colored can be used in the same way, showing and hiding colored objects. Strokes can be added for any purpose and to any type of object, including text objects if it fits the design. But when working with structural ink in an object, adding a stroke is recommended, as it helps the object stand out and enhances the effect of the structure. Clicking the Stroke Color menu, I have access to all colors, which also includes the pattern libraries. A stroke does not need to be a traditional colored stroke, but could be a pattern instead. But for this particular purpose, I will add a stroke to the text using the structural ink. This will help the textured pattern in the text to stand out from the image. The stroke is per default set to 1.4 millimeters, which is the recommended minimum for strokes in structural ink. In fact, for all objects colored in structural ink, it is recommended to design larger than 1.4 millimeters.